Are we recording?
We are.
Hey, whoa, here we are.
Oh, man.
Back again.
Movies with Ron.
Episode 8.
Oh, man. This was our last chance to be on New and Noteworthy in iTunes.
I don't know what that means.
It's like, that's where the new podcasts go, if you, did a good job.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Did we make it?
We'll see.
All right, cool. So what's new?
I don't know. Ask Rick.
Hey, here he is. For the first time, mic'd up, our sound guy, Rick.
Ladies and gentlemen. Hello.
Rick actually came to the movie with me tonight, and so he's gonna run back up in case I forget some shit.
Just a titch.
Was it a particularly complicated movie?
It was a little bit. You ever seen any of these Bourne movies?
So you went to the new Bourne movie.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm figuring people know that because of the name of the episode.
I've seen the first one, but I'm not worried about having seen any of the others.
Yeah.
It is kind of, I know they're all connected in some way, but it is kind of a James Bond modern day thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where each story has its own plot, you know?
Yeah, sort of. This one was actually pretty disconnected from the others. Still good, though. I did love this movie.
Was the theater packed?
Yes.
A lot of people like Bourne, huh?
Oh, yeah.
So Matt Damon's in his 50s. And he's
I think so.
having the best career.
Oh, yeah, man. He's like numero uno. Saw a preview to another Matt Damon movie called The Great Wall.
Oh, yeah?
You seen that?
I've seen pictures. You know what it reminds me of?
It actually,
what does it remind me of?
The Last Samurai meets Reign of Fire.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was just thinking Last Samurai.
As far as The Last Samurai goes,
Why is he a samurai in that movie? Matt Damon.
because in The Last Samurai, Tom Cruise was a fucking awesome white guy samurai, right? Except when you actually see the movie, he's not.
Right.
And this movie, The Great Wall, this is what people wanted The Last Samurai to be.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why it's probably going to do okay. It's also got Matt Damon in it, so, if he's going to sign on...
Yeah, who cares, right?
Right.
Go see it.
Hell yeah.
He should play Batman.
He should play the Joker.
Okay, so in Comic-Con happened,
Uh-huh.
and they showed footage from Justice League, which apparently they already filmed.
Yeah.
Right? They show the parts where Bruce Wayne is going to everyone's house.
Yeah, have you
Trying
seen
to
that
recruit
preview?
them. Yeah.
It's like a preview on YouTube.
When he goes to the Flash,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone loves the Flash.
Right.
He goes to the Flash's little lair. He's got this computer set up, all these computer screens. In the corner is Rick and Morty on one of those screens.
No shit.
Yeah,
Rick and Morty, great show, guys.
that made headlines.
That is awesome. A couple other previews, noteworthy. I've seen the preview to The Accountant.
No.
It's a Ben Affleck movie where he's autistic and he grew up to be an accountant, and his whole life he lives like a robot, and then it turns out that he's a super badass accountant for every drug runner and drug dealer cartel on the planet. He's got this total double life.
That sounds pretty suiting for Ben Affleck.
It actually looks pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's a new M. Night movie coming out. Know about anything about that? Split.
I saw the preview. I'm not convinced.
Yeah. It's got, M. Night has had a tough run here lately. So I think at the moment he's guilty until proven innocent.
When he first started making movies, he was the next Spielberg.
Oh, yeah.
Now he's the next Uwe Boll.
Yeah. You want to try to explain to everybody who that is?
Dude, they know who he is.
I hope. Now, I've seen this preview a time or two. Never in the theater yet, but this movie, Hell or High Water. You know about that?
Nope.
Dude, really? Okay, it's got Jeff Bridges, Chris Pine, and Ben Foster. And it's like a whole nother, they're robbing banks, okay? And it's like another, I don't know, No Country for Old Men type thing. Dude, looks good.
All right.
Looks real good. And I think that's about it, man, for the previews.
All right. How was the crowd?
Quiet. Quiet like Rick. Doing okay over there?
Oh, yeah, I'm hanging out.
All right.
What are you drinking there?
Fireball.
Yeah.
What are you drinking?
Fireball.
Mm.
Sponsorship opportunity out there. Come on. Come on, Fireball.
We're waiting, guys. Fireball. That's how you do it, guys. So here we go. Jason Bourne. Movies with Ron, episode 8. It is episode 8?
Yeah.
All right. Wait, are you sure?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so it opens up with the title immediately. Jason Bourne, right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then you hear a voiceover of Matt Damon, and he's going, I remember everything. And then he has a flashback to the doctor who originally brainwashed him. You found all that crap out in the third one. And so then he wakes up from this flashback, and he's in the back of a truck, and he's just riding, and it's like out in the middle of nowhere, right? The movie lets us know that they're in Greece, and they're near the border. And he's in this truck. There's this other guy in the truck who's got like tattoos, and he's like, cracking his knuckles and shit. Nobody's saying anything, just looking at each other. So then they stop and they get out. There's this big crowd of people. And it turns out there's this big like gambling. Everybody's gambling over like fist fights. Okay, and it's like a little gladiator battle going on.
Yeah.
And turns out Matt Damon is he's up, and he's got to fight this other dude who looks real tough and mean. And the guy's over there wrapping his hands up and everything, and he's got buddies behind him like slapping his shoulders, rubbing his shoulders. Yeah, come on, man. You gotta kick this guy's ass. And everybody's like, yeah, I got money on this guy, I got money on that guy, blah, blah, blah. And Matt Damon's just like, just fucking standing there, like looking around because he's like real depressed.
Is this like his first fight?
You mean like ever?
In this paid tournament.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
He doesn't say a word. He actually doesn't say very many words in this movie at all. Have you heard that?
I did.
I heard that he's got 25 lines in this movie.
Yeah.
And I heard that he made $25 million for making this movie.
Jesus.
So he got $1 million per line. I don't know how true that is, but after seeing the movie, I believe it, because he almost does not talk at all. Okay, so he's standing there, he's all dark and brooding and stuff like that, because, his whole life is in fucking shreds at this point in his life. So then the fight begins, and the guy's like, yeah, come on, motherfucker. He's not speaking English or anything, but, that's the gist. Yeah. And Jason Bourne just walks up and punches him in the face, and the guy goes down, and he wins the fight with one punch. Yep, that's Jason Bourne.
That's why I asked if it was his first fight. Because if anyone had seen him fight, they'd be like, no.
Yep, good point. Good point. So then we cut to Iceland, and we see Julia Stiles. Okay, so she shows up at this warehouse or whatever. It's all abandoned looking. She knocks on the door, and this guy's like, password, please. So she has to say, Walt sent me.
Is that really the password?
No, she says something like...
That's from Roger Rabbit.
Something like Susan Thornburg has a reservation, and they let her in.
Jesus. All right.
That's
I didn't
not
get
the
the Roger Rabbit.
I am not surprised. So she gives a password, and she walks inside, and she's walking around, and it's like this technological underworld, and there's all this hustle and bustling activity inside, all going on, and they're all these people are in there like hacking the system and like committing cyber crimes and shit like that, and it's all dark. And she goes in, and she just like sits down at a laptop and just like starts plucking away at the keyboard because she's a big old computer nerd. And then it cuts to the CIA Central Command Post in Langley. And we meet the new chick that's over there in charge, running all the technical shit. And her name's Heather Lee. And she is, she's overseeing everybody. And
who's she played by? Anyone famous?
No, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Just, young, good-looking chick.
Just seeing all these movies, it seems like there's a new head of the government that's chasing him.
Oh, yeah, there is in every movie. Now, in this movie, that's actually, and it's always a big, tough, no-nonsense character. That is not who she is. That is Tommy Lee Jones in this movie.
Okay, so we'll get there.
So, and she, she works for him. So, but she's the one like running the room, okay? Mm-hmm. The control room. And all of a sudden, they get this little alarm saying that somebody's downloading some Black Ops files and shit like that, and it's from a device that that we leased out to one of our agents years ago, whatever. And it turns out that it's it's Julia Stiles, and she's using her old laptop to download these all the files on everything that happened in all of the movies. Okay,
Yeah.
all of these.
She's brushing up.
In the first movie, they had Treadstone, and the second, these are all like top secret operations, and they're all like super trained assassin operations. Okay, so they're like, we got a major breach, and Julia Stiles is sitting there like reading all this crap, all these files, and she comes across a name, and the name is Richard Webb. Now, from the original trilogy, we find out that Jason Bourne's real name is David Webb. So she's like, who the hell's Richard Webb? And she's looking through his file, and yep, it's Jason Bourne's father. So he is involved in Treadstone. Treadstone is the operation that Jason Bourne came from.
Okay.
When he was, his memory was wiped or whatever, and he was turned into an assassin. So she's downloading all that shit, and everybody's like, holy shit, we got a breach. And Heather is like, all right, you know what? It's cool. I'm just going to install some malware into the files that she's downloading, okay? And then we're going to let her finish it. And then whenever she tries to read it, then we'll know where she is.
Yeah.
So they're doing that, and they're like, we need 10 more seconds, and she's like uploading the malware, and it's like malware uploaded, and she's like, all right, that's it. And they're like, cut the power to the building, because they can do that from Langley. They can cut the power to this building in Iceland.
Yeah.
And so the power goes out, and everybody in that hacker den is like, what the hell's going on? And somehow they all figure out that it's Julia Stiles, that she's the one that fucked him over, got them all caught or whatever. So they're all like looking at her, and they're like, what are you doing? Hey, what the fuck? And so she just stands up, pulls a gun, points it at this one dude, punches him, and everybody's like, whoa, because they're all just like hacker nerds, So they're all like, whoa, killer. Don't let's not be too hasty here. But she's like CIA trained, so she just like immediately picks up a bottle of liquor and just like douses it all over the laptop and everything that she was working on, and then she just lights it on fire and then leaves.
Okay.
Then we see Tommy Lee Jones and his second in command. This guy comes in and he's like, "Hey, we've been hacked," and he's like, "What the hell?" So then he has to go in and figure out what's going on, and he's asking for that girl, and he's like, I want a briefing in my, in my conference room in 2 hours. More than a couple of times in this movie when he's talking, it makes you think of his character in The Fugitive.
Yeah.
He's like, the leader of the CIA, but like, pretty easy going about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we cut to Silicon Valley, and we meet the new, he's like this new Steve Jobs type. And he's the leader of this company called Deep Dream, okay? And they're about to come out with this ultra new software that's just going to revolutionize everyone's lives. And everybody's like, what does it do? And he's like, well, it takes all of the favorite things that you search for, and it keeps those in mind so that when you search, you have a completely unique experience. And it's like the same thing that everyone has ever said on any new software thing coming up, okay?
Yeah.
But apparently it's going to change the world. Yeah. And it has brought up an ethical question of privacy. Because if it takes all that, it learns about you, and it knows all that, well then it's like Big Brother's watching you.
Yeah.
So people are like, well, we're not so sure we want this. So then in the conference room, we got Tommy Lee Jones, his second in command, and then Heather. And they're all talking about this, and they figure out who had the laptop, and it was Nikki, who is Julia Stiles. He's like, well, where the hell is Julia Stiles? And they're like, that's, she's in Iceland, and, we're following her or whatever.
Now, this girl, Heather, has developed apparently all this software to search for the CIA, this search on surveillance cameras for like facial recognition. Mm-hmm. So it'll pinpoint and find anybody where they're going or whatever, and they can start tracking like their passports and stuff like that. So that's like, she's the reason why the CIA is so close every time when somebody's moving around, and they're tracking Julia Stiles like pretty close.
Okay.
Like they know where she's going now.
Yeah. And they're talking about going to get Julia Stiles, and Heather's like, yeah, I want to be in charge of the op. You know, I want to run the show. And Tommy Lee Jones is like, well, you know, why you? You know, and she's like, well, because you know, I'm a techno geek and I did all that for you, and you know, I can give you Bourne too. And they're like, oh, really? So they decide to give her full operational control. So then we cut to Rome, and then we meet Vincent Castle. Vincent Castle is playing the evil assassin who's up against Bourne in this movie. Most of the time in the movie, they refer to him as the asset. So Vincent Castle gets a call from Tommy Lee Jones, and he's like, yeah, we got this chick. We need you to go check her out. And, Vincent Castle's like, I'm not finished here. And he's like, right, yeah, well, you know, Jason Bourne might be around. And then Vincent Castle, like, like loses it because, you know, he's apparently got a bit of an axe to grind against Jason Bourne. Yeah. So he's like, okay. And then he hangs up the phone, and then he just walks into the bathroom where there's this hostage tied up in the bathtub, and he just shoots him in the head. And then he, like, packs his shit up and leaves.
All right.
So then in Greece, we see Bourne in his hotel room, and he's going through his bag of old passports. And this bag of passports has shown up in every Bourne movie ever. It even had a big reveal in the very first one when he first got it. So like this bag, this whole stack of passports is like it's almost its own character in these movies. So then he gets a text or something from Julia Stiles, telling him to meet her in this one courtyard in Greece. Mm-hmm. So they show up there, and the entire city is like overrun by protesters and like riot police and shit, and it's like super crowded and dangerous and everything, and you know the situation's getting out of control. And back in the control room, we see Heather, and she's like, you know, yeah, he's going to be using these demonstrations as a distraction or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then we see Vincent Castle land in the airport, so he's getting into town, and all these cops have riot gear and everything, and the CIA is still tracking Julia Stiles, and or they're kind of hunting for her, and they're like, Alpha Team has just arrived, and it's just a couple of regular agents walking around, and they're following her. So then at this point, the riot begins to, or the protest begins to like escalate, and then the riot police and the protesters start fighting, and it gets real ugly. At that point, Bourne finds Julia, and he's like, we need to move.
Are they in love?
Well, in the Bourne Ultimatum, Julia Stiles winds up helping him out.
By the way, Rick is also the Jason Bourne #1 fan. That's why we decided to give him some free reign here. Come on, buddy.
Well, they're getting away, and they get into basically like what is a truck stop, and she's talking to him about his past. He's asking her why she's helping him out, and she tells him that it was extremely hard for her, but especially with him, with the process of turning them into an assassin, like watching them go through it or whatever, or being his handler. Mm-hmm. And it kind of, like on some level, suggested that she might even be a love interest that he just completely forgot about from the amnesia. So,
okay.
Like, when I was sitting in the movie theater, I was looking for some resolution right here. Really hoping.
Does she say anything?
Nope.
No.
Okay, it's just teased.
Yeah.
All right.
Never find out how they knew each other. So, back here in this movie, he's like, why the hell did you contact me? What the hell's going on? And she's like, look, because it's all starting all over again. And he's like, yeah, what the fuck are you doing? Look at yourself. You know, what's going on here? And she's like, no, you got to look at these files. Look, I brought all these files for you. You got to check this shit out. And, there's this new program called Iron Hand, and it's all fucked up. And he's like, Jesus, man, what the fuck? This is all fucking nuts. And, you can tell he's like, I just want to be left alone. And she's like, you got to look at these files. I found your dad. And he's like, wait, what?
I had a good bare knuckle boxing career going before you came in.
Yeah.
And then she came into my life.
Yeah. Changed everything. And she's like, so, it turns out also, before you were selected for Treadstone, they were watching you even before that, when you were just a regular dickhead in the army, little moron. Because early in the other movies, you find out that he was like too dumb for the program, and his recruiter like had to add 10 points to his IQ. So that, nope, that's the wrong movie I'm talking about.
That would be Bourne Legacy.
Yep, that's Jeremy Renner. Okay, let's back it up.
I'm not confused at all.
Aaron Cross.
That does sound like Jeremy Renner, though.
Yeah, it totally does. But in my defense, I did just watch all of these movies this week, so it's all kind of blurring together.
You watched that one, too?
Yeah.
It's like the red-headed stepchild of the Bourne
It is.
franchise.
We have hopes.
Sorry, Mr. Renner.
Yep.
You're all right.
I take it. And I'm sorry, Mr. Damon. Turns out you were not dumb. You were awesome.
He was like an army captain before all this.
Was he?
Yeah, they were like, Captain Webb. Come on, man.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay, so they got to escape from Alpha Team. And so they're walking around, and he's like, we got to split up. Meet me at, at the Athena statue in the such-and-such square. And she's like, okay, so they split up. And he's like, don't worry, I'll get rid of these guys. I'll get them off your back. So they can see, the CIA can see Jason Bourne walking around with this girl. And they're like, they split up, and the CIA is like, Tommy Lee Jones is like, stay on Bourne, fuck the girl, it's okay. Just go after him. So then he's walking, and he's, trying to evade them, and, they're like trying not to be seen, but, they don't know that they are being seen. And he's walking, and there's all these protesters running by him, and there's this cool moment that happens in the preview that happens right now. He swipes a Molotov cocktail, a burning Molotov cocktail, right out of some dude's hand that's running by him. And he just keeps on walking. And the dude that got it stolen from him just like turns around and is like, what? You took my thing. So then Jason Bourne just like throws it at the ground behind him. And like, it bursts into flames. And so then he just like walks into this train, off to his left or whatever. And then the two guys from Alpha Team are like, they have to go around the fire. And it's like, oh, geez, what do we do? Oh, it's burning. Watch out, man. So they get past the fire, and then Bourne just like jumps out of the train and kicks the shit out of him real quick. Because that's what he does. So, the CIA is like, engage the target. Bourne kicks their ass. Now he's got to escape the cops. Because I guess the CIA has given the cops his picture and shit.
Well, he kicked the shit out of those two guys, and every time he kicks the shit out of somebody, he always disarms them. So, like, anytime they're on the ground, he winds up with a gun in his hands, and he's looking for the next target. So the cops see him with a gun in his hand, and they go,
okay.
This is a riot guy who's, like, about to kill somebody. They start coming for him.
This movie opens with a one-punch victory. If he isn't doing one-punch kills through the rest of the movie, I'm disappointed.
It's pretty much like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Tommy Lee Jones guy is like, yeah, you got to find the girl. Find the girl. He'll find her. So just find her, and then Bourne will show up. So then Vincent Castle is coming, and rioters and the cops are all beating each other up and everything. And Bourne finds Julia, and they're moving together. So then there's another team after Julia. The riot police start firing a big fire hose at all the rioters and everything, and then Bourne, he's like, fuck this, and he steals a cop motorcycle. So then he gets her on it with him, and they're riding through, and they have to evade the fire hose. Now, the guy controlling the fire hose turns out isn't a cop, he's a rioter. And he sees all of these other cop motorcycles chasing Bourne, and they've all got their police lights on. So this guy, this rioter, just like figures out that the guy in the lead here, he's a rioter, just like us, and these other cops are following him. So, you know what? Fuck it. Let's help him out. And he just sprays the cops. So they all just go down, and Bourne gets away.
Sweet.
Castle is like, I'm 2 minutes out. And Jason Bourne, he's riding through here. He's killing agents and shit like that. And then they're like, the asset is on the scene. He's here. And he shows up, and he's chasing them in a car through the city. And then we're back in the control room. And they're all like, what the hell's going on? And they're just barking orders and shit. And we've got Bourne raging through the city. And Heather is coaching Vincent Castle. And she's like, yep, there's a roadblock up ahead. They're going to be turning left. So then he'll turn left. And, that happens 2 or 3 more times.
He's got like a little earpiece or something? Okay.
Yeah, he can hear. So he's chasing Bourne and Julia through the streets. And Bourne does some shit where he zips out of the way. And then Vincent Castle ends up hitting a fucking wall, and his airbag blows, so he gets out and he's okay. And then he just starts chasing them on foot. Now, they're on a motorcycle, and they're, like, going downstairs and shit like that. And, he's running, and he's cutting through alleyways and shit, and Heather is coaching him. Yep, if you go this way and that way, you can cut him off.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Then he ends up, she tells him where they're going to be. So then he gets into this building, and he goes up to the roof. Kills a couple of dudes on the roof because he's a badass. And then he sets up his rifle, and, his sniper rifle. And he's just watching this spot where they're supposed to be. And, it's all full of people and smoke and shit like that. And he's just, like, waiting, and he's waiting. And then, he kind of sees him, but not really. And then he sees him, and then Tommy Lee Jones is like, take the shot! And Vincent Castle just fires. And then we see Bourne and Julia Stiles on the motorcycle, and Julia Stiles gets hit in the back, and she goes flying off of the motorcycle, hits the wall like a fucking rag doll, okay? It's like a little bit too violent of a death for her. But she's actually not dead yet. He crashes. They're both rolling around on the ground, and they're just laying there. So Julia is just laying there, and she's looking around, and she's coughing and shit. And Matt Damon gets up, and he knows that this guy's got a sniper rifle, obviously. So he's down behind some shit, and he's looking at her. He's like, "I'm coming to get you," and she's like, "No, don't." And he's like, "No, fuck that. I'm coming. And she's like, "No, seriously, all right, for real, don't. You're gonna get shot." And he's like, "Fuck that. I'm coming to get you." So he moves, and then she's like, "Nope." In order to save his life, she moves like towards him, and that's when Vincent Castle takes the shot and kills her. And in her death throw, she tosses Bourne a key, obviously, to go and get the files that she was talking about. So then we got some tactical police going up through that building because they knew that this guy was in there shooting. So they're going after Vincent Castle, and Tommy Lee Jones or Heather is like, you got like 20 seconds to get out of there, man. And he's like, "No, wait, I'm trying to see. I got to make sure Bourne's dead. I got to make sure he's dead." And he's running out of time. Cops show up, and he's gone. And he escaped down the side of the building with a rope. And Heather looks at, back in the control room in Langley, Heather looks at Tommy Lee Jones. She's like, "Hey, does Vincent Castle know Jason Bourne? Because, he seems to hate him, And he's like, "Yeah, well, back when Bourne exposed Operation Blackbriar, Castle got exposed, and he was in the field. So he was then taken prisoner, and he was tortured pretty brutally, and it took us 2 fucking years to get him out of there."
Oh, jeez.
So, yeah, he's,
fucking Bourne.
Yeah, he's pissed off at Jason Bourne. Jason Bourne's a traitor. So then we see Vincent Castle in his hotel room, and he's in the bathroom, and his shirt's off, and you see all these huge fucking scars on his back and shit. So, yeah, you can tell he is pretty pissed off. So then we got Jason Bourne, and he's in a train station. And he's got his key. He's going to a locker, and he opens it up, and there's a bag in there. Goes into the bag, and it's got a gun in it. And it's got a flash drive. So he takes them, and he also takes this notebook. It was Julia Stiles, and she's looking through it, and it says, Richard Webb was involved in Treadstone. And once he reads that, he gets a flashback of all this chaos happening in some city somewhere. It's just a bunch of smoky shit. And he's looking at these page numbers. And, it's like D2, D4, or whatever. I really wasn't able to make sense of that. You know what I'm talking about, Rick?
I'm thinking that those numbers that you were looking at were actually coordinates, like latitude, longitude.
Yeah, they were some sort of...
and then an abbreviation.
Either that
Berlin.
Okay, yeah.
BER.
She was telling him, like, where to go. But they were written down at the corners of the pages as if they were page numbers. Mm-hmm. So now he knows he has to go to Berlin. Then in D.C., we got the founder of that Deep Dream, and he's meeting with Tommy Lee Jones. Okay, and they're talking to each other like they know each other, and it turns out that they have some sort of deal. And the CIA is going to be using his new program to spy on everybody. So, he's like, "Yeah, you're a fucking billionaire now because we backed your crowdfunding shit, and so you owe us." And he's like, "I paid you assholes back like 5,000 times over. So fuck you. I'm out. I heard you got hacked, and this is getting dangerous, and I don't want anything to do with it anymore." And he's like, "Yeah, you know what? That might not be so good for you, asshole." And he's like, "No, it's too much risk. I'm out." And Tommy Lee Jones gives him some shit where he's like, "You're making it difficult to defend this country. I'd be worried if I were you. And he scares him. Okay? So then we cut to Berlin. And Bourne is... what's he doing in Berlin, Rick?
Well, he finds the coordinates of where Julia Stiles, where her book was leading him to. And obviously it's towards another kind of undercover site like it was in Iceland.
Mm-hmm.
Like a computer hacker type of thing. Obviously this was the guy that gave Julia Stiles the idea to go and hunt down these files.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So-
he sees him as this, there's just this hooded kid walking through the streets.
Oh, yeah. And, he follows him up into his apartment. And basically this hooded kid, this hoodie, he takes his hood off. He kind of looks like a bit of a scary guy, actually. But as soon as he's in his apartment, he walks into the middle of it, and then you see in the background, all blurry, Jason Bourne just kind of materializes
he
out of the shadows.
Walks up behind him.
Oh, yeah.
The guy kind of knew something was up, too. Like, he's walking around, he's like looking around his apartment and shit. So, yeah, Bourne's up, he's behind him. And, he's got a gun on him or something like that. Tosses him the flash drive, and he's like, open it. And the guy's like, yeah, okay, whatever. And so he opens up the files on this flash drive. Then, back at Langley, in the CIA headquarters, they're like, the malware was just activated. He's looking at the files and shit. And,
How old is this kid?
I don't know, mid-20s? Late 20s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's
Did you notice
this
that?
guy?
That's the guy who's developing the software.
Yeah,
He
that's
just
the Steve
talked a-
Jobs type guy.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
him.
That's Riz Ahmed. He was the helper in Nightcrawler. Good actor.
Mm.
Yeah, he's got a future.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, so they opened the malware files.
So they know Bourne is in Berlin. And Tommy and Heather are they're in the headquarters, and they're looking at what's going on. So then back with the Hood and Bourne. The Hood, he talks about Julia like he knows her. And Bourne is like, yeah, well, you fucking exploited her and shit. And the kid is like, yeah, well, it was important. We had to blow the lid off of this shit.
People need to know.
Yeah. And back in the control room, Heather is looking at Tommy Lee Jones, and she's like, what if he's not trying to blow the lid off of anything? What if he's not trying to expose us? What if it's something else? What if he's after something else? And it's just funny because in almost every Bourne movie, there is a female lead who ends up like believing in Bourne. Okay.
Okay.
That like she's like a CIA, like she's part of the people hunting him, but she's the one who like gives him a chance.
Right.
Okay. There's no guys that do that. All guys want Jason Bourne dead. All women start to trust him because he's Matt Damon.
All men want to kill him. All women want to be killed by him.
All right, so the hoodie is like, why don't you work with me, Bourne? We can take down the system together. And he's like, fuck you, no. And so then they're looking through, some CCTV, and they actually see Bourne in the window through this apartment building from half the world away. And they're just looking at him. And he's like reading the computer screen and shit like that. And Bourne's looking at him, at the files. And the guy is like, well, when you're done, could you at least leave me the files so I can do it? And Bourne's like, fuck you. And he finds his father's name. And the girl Heather is like, yep, okay, I just found out that there's a cell phone in the room. I can actually use that cell phone to delete the files on the computer. And Tommy Lee Jones is like, fucking do it. So she routes through the cell phone and shuts everything down. Right? Did that happen before or after the fight?
It happened actually after.
Okay,
She's
so
using the cell phone to break down the firewalls, and during this, he's
Yeah,
going through the
okay.
files.
So then he ends up getting into a fight with the kid. The kid, all right, this kid gets the jump on Jason Bourne.
Oh
I was a
my
little
God.
surprised by that.
Yeah.
Okay, he like picks up a dumbbell and just like fucking hits him in the head with it. And Jason Bourne like didn't see it coming. He got hit, but then he took care of him. Did he kill him?
I don't think he killed him. But that kid whacked him with a bunch of
Oh, yeah.
fucking weights.
Yeah.
So this isn't a kid that's going to be, like, keep showing up.
No.
Nah. Sure as shit gave him a couple of bruises.
Why didn't he use his one-hit punch?
The kid got the jump on him, man. He totally... Because Jason Bourne was at the computer and he was looking through the files. And looking through the files at the files of Malcolm surveilling him and his father.
Yeah, back in his recruitment history.
Have we
Oh, yeah.
seen his father yet?
we've seen his father in
No.
flashback.
We haven't actually seen his face yet, though.
It's just in this movie. Any other movies? No.
All right.
But it's all flashbacks of him talking with his dad.
Yeah. So his dad was like, I did something that's it's going to cost me. And don't worry, you'll understand, later when you're older or whatever. So then he gets the name Malcolm Smith, surveillance. He's the guy that was, watching him and his dad. So then they delete the files remotely. And then she's like, did she ask? Should I call him? I could call him on this phone. And Tommy Lee Jones is like, yeah, do it. So she calls the cell phone. It just starts ringing. And Jason Bourne's like, shit. So he goes and he picks it up. He's like, hello. And Heather is like, hey, Mr. Bourne, you don't know me, but I'm the chick at the CIA, okay? And I know what you're looking for. I know you're looking at all this shit, okay, all these files and everything. I want you to know I can help you with this. I can help you find what you're looking for. Maybe you should just come in or whatever. And Tommy Lee Jones is like, give me the phone. So he takes the phone.
This is Director Dewey.
Yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones's name in the movie.
He's like, listen, son, your father was a patriot, and he wouldn't want you to take down the CIA like this, you son of a bitch, so, stop it.
Mm-hmm. He's the Darth Vader of the story.
Yeah.
He's Darth Vader.
Is he his father?
What? No.
No.
Shit.
And Heather starts warning Bourne. Oh, she goes against Tommy Lee Jones, and she sends a text to Bourne. She's like, cops are going to be there to get you in like 2 minutes. And he's like, oh shit. So he escapes when the Berlin team arrives. So in order to escape, all these guys are coming into the building. They're on the ground floor. And then Jason Bourne just like calls the elevator up to the top floor where he is. And so they're like, the elevator's going up. Go upstairs. And they all just start running up the stairs. And it turns out Jason Bourne just like stepped into the shaft and rode the counterweight all the way down. So he's going down at the same time the elevator's going up. He passes all those fuckers and they never even see him. So then there's one agent down on the bottom and he's like, go into the door of the elevator shaft. And he's like, no, something's funny. And he's walking up to the door and he's walking up to the door. And Jason Bourne just like throws the door open real fast and it knocks the guy out. Then Tommy Lee Jones looks at Heather and he's like, he doesn't say anything, but he's like, he escaped? How the hell did that happen, bitch? So then we got a meeting with the CIA guys, and they're talking to Heather. And she's like, look, I'm convinced that, we need to bring Bourne back in. And they're like, why? We should just kill him. He's a liability. And she's like, no, I've been looking at what he's doing with the files and everything. And I think he's, now that he's figured out who he is and everything, something's missing, He always was a patriot. But, so I'm thinking, it's okay. We can bring him back in and he can like work for us again. I'm totally confident that we can do this. And, Tommy Lee Jones's boss is like, well, what do you think, Bob? And Tommy Lee Jones just goes, well, all right, let's give it a shot. Just like the U.S. Marshal in The Fugitive.
Yeah. I don't care.
Yeah. Fine, I guess, whatever. So then later, Heather's talking to him, and she's like, yeah, I'm sorry I kind of, stepped on your dick there. And he's like, oh, no, don't worry about that. That's fine, kid. But you know what? You need to go ahead and get some sleep, because this is going to be a pretty tough 24 hours for you. And she's like, yeah, okay.
Because she volunteers to go and meet him to bring him in.
Okay.
So at this point, we go back to California, where the founder of Deep Dream is being served with, some sort of summons before Supreme Court or whatever. And so he's talking to his second in command, and he's like, give me the records of all of my meetings with Tommy Lee Jones. And the guy's like, even the secret meetings? And, the boss is like, especially those. So he's planning on, like, turning on Tommy Lee Jones and exposing the deal that they made.
Yeah.
And telling the world that Tommy Lee Jones is going to use his program to invade all their private lives and everything and keep them under surveillance. And that the whole program is really just a big, cover for that.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, well, I'm going to Vegas, I need an insurance policy. Turns out there's some big convention in Vegas, big technology convention that he's supposed to be the star of. So then Bourne's on a train and he gets a flashback. It's another one of him, talking to his dad or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Where's he going?
I think he's going to London at the moment. So we got Vincent Castle in London, And Tommy Lee Jones calls him, and he's like, yeah, hey, man. So I know we're trying to take down Bourne here, but, maybe don't make this personal. And then Vincent Castle is like, it's always personal. He is a traitor. He betrayed us. He's a son of a bitch, and I hate him. And Tommy Lee Jones is just like, all right, man, well, make sure you're ready for what we're doing. So then the founder of, what is the Steve Jobs guy? Okay.
Dream something?
Yeah, Deep Dream.
Deep Dream.
The guy who created that, his assistant that he was asking for the records of the meetings with Tommy Lee Jones.
Aaron Kalor.
Picture.
His character.
Okay.
Dream guy.
So Aaron, his assistant, is like having a secret meeting of his own with Tommy Lee Jones. And he's like, hey, just so you know, Aaron is planning something big at the convention, okay? Now, I'm telling you this so that you can, not take me down, okay? I like you guys, so, he's a little turncoat.
All right. This is not getting complicated at
Right?
all.
Right? Why do you think I brought him in?
That's the Bourne movies.
Yeah, see, in every Bourne movie, you have 4, 5, maybe even 6 little subplots going on, different relationships. You got Jason Bourne's conflict going on. Okay, then you have your big tough as nails character, CIA person, chasing him. Okay,
Yeah.
Now there's always a little rivalry or duality going on within the CIA because you got one person who starts to believe in Bourne.
Mm-hmm.
So then they got to kind of betray the CIA a little bit. Okay, then you got an assassin out there who's on Bourne's tail and stuff like that. You got his story going on and all this shit. And yeah, they get a little complicated. They're also traveling all over the world.
Yeah.
And then on top of all that shit, you also have to keep track of all of the government spy information shit that they're all talking about. Okay? So yeah, it does get a little thick. So Bourne's going to London, and he's going to London to look for that guy, Malcolm Smith. And he's going to grab him, and he's going to reach across his desk and grab him by his big fat head and be like, why were you following me and my dad? I grabbed him by his fat head and I said, I'm not going to jail for you or anybody. Fucking lawyers. So he sends a text to this guy once he's in town. He's like, meet me at Paddington Plaza. And me watching the movie, I was like, well, they're in London. Is Paddington Plaza named after Paddington Bear? Marmalade sandwiches and shit.
See, I'm sitting here next to you, and I have no idea that this is going on.
Have you seen the Paddington Bear movie?
Oh, yeah, man.
Fucking good.
It was good.
I love that movie.
So, the guy Malcolm Smith is like, yeah, okay, I'll go and I'll meet you in the plaza. And then Vincent Castle and Heather are together. Wow, that's weird. So Heather and Vincent Castle are together.
Okay.
And they're going to go and watch the meeting. And Heather has made the deal that, you know what? Let me go and interrupt their meeting, okay? And if I can get face-to-face with Bourne, if I can be in front of his mesmerizing eyes, then I can convince him to come home. Because no one else has been able to do that so far. But I'm a fucking 20-something little girl, so I'm sure I can do it.
Yeah.
And Tommy Lee Jones is like, yeah, okay. So they're going, and she gives Vincent Castle a little motion tracker. She's like, put this in your pocket so I can track where you're going and stuff like that. And that's the whole thing, is if anything goes south, they could just use Vincent Castle to kill everybody. And so Malcolm's going to meet Bourne. He knows he's being watched. And Castle walks out of the truck of theirs, and he gets onto another radio channel. He's like, this is Vincent Castle on the second channel. Are you there? And Tommy Lee Jones is talking to him. And it turns out that Tommy Lee Jones and Vincent Castle are in cahoots. And Heather's plan?
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
Subplot number 9. Okay? So they're talking on the phone, and Tommy Lee Jones is like, yeah, so, fuck Heather. Fuck her plan. And when you find him, kill him. And Vincent Castle's like, yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
So they also have a couple of other agent teams that are following the Malcolm Smith. And as Vincent Castle is moving through, he picks the tracking device out of his pocket and he throws it in the trash. So the whole time Heather's looking at him on her screen, and she's like, why aren't you moving, man? And he's running through the city and shit, but it's in a trash can, so she can't tell where he is. And he's going up behind the CIA agents that are tailing Malcolm Smith, and he's killing them. Okay? So he's like on special orders from Tommy Lee Jones to just kill the whole team so that Heather looks like she doesn't know what she's doing.
Okay.
And and every time she's like, I lost contact with Alpha Team. They're gone. And they're dead, because Vincent Castle killed them. And Tommy Lee Jones is on the phone with her, and he's like, where's your team, Heather? What's going on here? Don't you know? You better get control of your operation, Heather. And Vincent Castle kills the second team, and shit. And Bourne goes into some electrical service closet. And he just, locks himself in. And you're just like, what the fuck's going on? So then, they get killed by Castle. And Tommy Lee Jones is talking into a phone. And then this guy starts talking back to him. He's like, where am I? Where is he? What's going on? And he realized that Malcolm Smith has a fucking earpiece in and is talking to Tommy Lee Jones. So, Tommy Lee Jones talking to Malcolm Smith. Malcolm Smith is in on what's going on, and he knows he's being used as bait.
All right.
To catch Jason Bourne. So,
is he on the same team as Tommy Lee Jones and Vincent Castle?
Yes.
Okay.
He's really just a private security contractor now, and he's just helping Tommy Lee Jones out because Tommy Lee Jones is scary CIA director.
Gotcha.
Okay. So then Heather is talking to Alpha Team, and then she hears them and go radio silent. So she knows they just got killed. And she realizes, because he's just like, and then the radio just goes dead.
Hey, Bourne. Where's Basky?
And no one is going to get that shit.
He's down.
He's down. Ripley, you're just grinding metal. You've blown the transaxle.
If you get that, leave a comment. So,
Heather clues in that Bourne is being framed. And Tommy Lee Jones just says, you know what? Heather has lost control of her operation. And you know what? Kill Bourne. Kill him as soon as you see him. So Heather knows that she has just been set up.
Okay.
So Bourne is screwing around in the electrical closet. At the same time, we see Vincent Castle get up on the roof of some building with another sniper rifle. And Malcolm is now in position where he was supposed to meet Bourne. And then all of a sudden, that guy Malcolm, he's just standing there in the middle of the square. And, not a whole lot of people around. There's a few people. And then every fire alarm in the city, in that city block, goes off. In all of those buildings, okay? And they're like, what the hell's going on? What's that sound? And then Vincent Castle goes, multiple fire alarms. And then Tommy Lee Jones just goes, that's Bourne. And then the street just completely floods with people. Okay? Yeah, it's that's the kind of shit Jason Bourne does. So in that big sea of people, then Jason Bourne can move around freely and not get shot by Vincent Castle and, not get caught on video and shit like that. It's the kind of stuff he does.
Okay.
So Malcolm's like, you can't protect me. You can't protect me in the middle of this crowd of people. You're going to shoot this fucker right next to me in the middle of this crowd? That's just not going to work. I'm going to die. And he's like, you know what? I'm done and I'm leaving. So he starts to leave. And then Jason Bourne shows up and just takes him by the arm. It's holding him at gunpoint. He's like, come on, we're leaving. So as they're leaving, Jason Bourne looks over to the left and he sees Heather just standing there watching him. And they make eye contact. And she's like, shit, man, there you are right there. Fuck you. And he's like, yep, and fuck you too. And they just leave. Uh-huh. And so then he just starts beating this guy, Malcolm, around. He's throwing him around. He's like, why are you watching me? Why are you watching me? And why were you watching me and my dad? Swear to me.
Where's the trigger? You wouldn't give it to an ordinary citizen. Well, they're on a rooftop.
And he's holding him over the edge.
So, pretty close to that, yeah.
Bourne's holding him?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's like, it turns out in these files that my dad actually started Treadstone, okay? He started the Treadstone program. So that's why I was meeting him that day that you were watching us. And, I was going to tell him that I had just been selected for Treadstone. So if it was his program, why didn't he say anything about that? What the fuck's going on here? And then the guy's like, yeah, he didn't know that you were selected. He didn't want you to be selected. He was fighting it. And he actually told us that if you were selected, that he was going to expose everybody.
So Bourne is acknowledging all these flashbacks he's been getting?
Yes.
Okay.
And he's like, your father was killed because of you. And he's like, wait, what?
And just for listeners' benefit who hasn't seen anything else, flashbacks are important because his memory got wiped.
Are you asking me or telling me?
Pretty much, right?
Oh,
That
yeah.
is correct.
That is
Okay.
totally correct. And he's like, that's the whole thing, is your dad didn't want you to be a killer. He didn't want you to get turned into a fucking assassin. So then Vincent Castle shows up, and he's about to shoot him, and then he just uses the fucker as a human shield, uses Malcolm as a human shield, and then they fall off of the building, and he grabs onto a cable, and they kind of ride the cable down. You know, it's about 5 stories they fall. The guy who was shot obviously hits the ground and dies. Bourne hits the ground pretty fucking hard. Okay? And he's down for a little while, and everybody's crowding around him, and then Vincent Castle's like, fuck this, I'm going down to make sure he's dead. And by the time he gets down there, Bourne's gone. Bourne's gone.
Is Bourne physically altered at all?
No.
Okay.
Bourne's just a badass.
Yeah.
All right.
He was just like hyper trained.
All right. Thank God Malcolm's gone. I need to get rid of some of these characters.
Yeah, he's gone. So then Castle is like, I'm going to go after him. And Tommy Lee Jones is talking to him on the phone. He's like, no, you're done in London. There's another play we need to get to. So go to the airport. And he's like, yeah, okay.
The whole thing, it's like a fucking chess match.
It's like a 5-way chess match. Pretty complicated.
An orgy of espionage.
So then we cut to Heather in her van, and she's just like sitting in the van like shit. Everything has just gone tits up, and everybody's like, you know, everybody's dead or gone. Okay, I didn't get Bourne. Everything sucks. And then the window of her van just like smashes out, and then Bourne just like reaches in, pushes her out of the seat, and then, you know, pushes her into the passenger side, and then he gets in and he's driving. So Heather is now, she's like, I can help you, Bourne. I can help you get to Tommy Lee Jones. And he's like, yeah, okay. And she's like, everybody's going to Vegas for the big convention. You know, the CIA director is supposed to be there too. That's a little weird, you know, that the CIA would go to this convention and publicly speak about Deep Dream.
Or send the director.
Yeah. So she's like, let's go to Vegas together. And he's like, nope, I'll see you in Vegas. And he gets out of the van. So then Tommy Lee Jones reveals his plan to, he's talking to Vincent Castle. And he's like, okay, so when we get on stage with the leader of Deep Dream, who's going to betray me, you, Vincent Castle, are going to shoot him and kill him. Okay? And he's like, yeah, cool. I already got the fake fingerprints I'm going to leave behind. And they're going to think it was like, you know, the Iraqis or something like that.
Okay.
Tommy Lee Jones is like, yeah, cool. So then they're flying back into America, and they're at customs. Or just Bourne is. And he's going through customs, and he gives him his fake passport. And the customs agent is like, so why were you in London? And then Bourne, like, gives the camera, like, this big, like, you know, this, you know, winning Matt Damon smile. And he's like, business. So the guy's like looking him up and down. He's looking at his picture. He's looking back at him. And you can tell like, oh, something's wrong. You know, he's going to flag him or something like that. And then back at Langley, you see Heather like clicking away into a keyboard. And she just expedites his process through customs. And the guy at customs actually sees it on his computer. And it's like expedited, let him pass. And there you have it. Bitches love Bourne.
Yeah.
Yep.
Give up their whole career.
Oh, yeah. So now we have the convention in Vegas going on, and Tommy Lee Jones arrives, and they're taking him up to a secure suite and everything. We see Castle arrive in a taxi cab, and then Bourne arrives in a taxi cab, and Castle, he goes to the airport locker, and he pulls his bag out that's got his guns that were given to him by the CIA and shit like that. And they go to the Hotel Aria in Vegas, and Heather is texted to meet Bourne in 10 minutes. Then we see the founder of Deep Dream, Aaron. He arrives, and he's like moping around, and he's looking real serious. And everybody's like, hey, man, you're the king of the world. And he's like, yeah, whatever. Because like, he's like, it's heavy on his heart what he's about to do. He's about to betray the CIA. And Tommy Lee Jones is like, find Heather. I need to meet with her now. While they're going through, I didn't really like this part. While they're going through the convention, Bourne is just like walking around, and he sees like, in the convention, there's like, you know, everybody's there with booths showing off their new techno gadgets and everything. And he just like walks through the convention and picks up a bunch of spy shit. And he's just like stealing it. And like it's all this super convenient spy crap that he needs, like tracking devices and mini cameras and stuff like that. He's just like fucking stealing them, you know? Obviously those businesses were probably like, you know, grassroots crowdfunded shit. And I bet you $1 million every one of them would have had some nerd sitting there watching all their inventory.
Yeah.
But, Jason Bourne just like steals it, fuck it.
Well, they had, oh God, what's his name?
There was some commotion going on, Aaron. He was walking through. Yeah. So everybody was like, hey, you should listen to my idea.
Yeah.
He had all their attention. Jason Bourne used the diversion.
The Bourne identity.
The Bourne.
So he's picking up spy shit, all these dart tags and fucking spy cams and everything. And Castle's talking to Tommy Lee Jones, and Tommy Lee Jones is like, yeah, so when you shoot this guy, the Deep Dream guy, why don't you go ahead and shoot me in my left hand? Looks better if I'm a target too.
I don't care.
Yeah. And Castle's like, okay. And then Tommy Lee Jones is just like looking at his left hand. Like, you're about to get shot. So then Bourne's walking by Heather in the crowd, and he like, bloop, drops one of the trackers into her pocket. So then we see Castle, and he goes and he fucking puts on some fake waiter uniform, and he's walking through the, going through the employees only parts of the hotel.
He's pulling a hitman.
Mm-hmm.
Heather gets a text from Bourne that says, left pocket for Tommy Lee Jones. And she checks in her pocket, and it's the tracking device. So then she's talking with Heather. She's talking with Tommy Lee Jones. And Tommy Lee Jones is like, yeah, don't worry about that big fuck up you did. Where you got your whole team killed.
Yeah.
We'll just chalk that up to your learning curve because you're new. And she's like, yeah, thanks. So at that point, she puts the tracking device in his pocket. So Bourne is like stealing some kid's ID to get into the, conference or whatever. Then Aaron, the founder of Deep Dream, is talking with Tommy Lee Jones, and he's like, yeah, have you met Heather? She's my tech expert. And he looks at Heather, and he's like, oh, yeah. How you doing, Heather? And it's like, what? They're connected? The founder of Deep Dream and Heather know each other, okay? It's like a whole new level of complicated, and it was totally needless, okay?
What the fuck?
Because Tommy Lee Jones is like, well, how do you guys know each other? He's like, yeah, we went to Stanford together. How do you like working for the CIA? And she's like, yeah, it's great. And that's it. There's like no reason for any of that. So then Bourne's tracking Tommy Lee Jones. And the name of this convention is ExoCon, and it begins. So everybody's piling into the conference room to listen to everybody talking. And, Bourne goes and he takes out a guard. And the guy who's emceeing the whole thing gets up. He's like, so we're about to hear from, Deep Dream and then the CIA. Because it's a big debate about, personal rights versus public safety. Which one's more important?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the debate is going to be. And they all go out on stage, and Tommy Lee Jones gets a phone call, and he's like, well, I'll be out there in a minute. I got to take this. And on the phone call, they're like, hey, we just found out Jason Bourne is here. And he's like, oh, shit, man, what the fuck? And Aaron, the founder of Deep Dream, starts talking, and you see Vincent Castle putting on his special glove that has the Iraqi fingerprints on it. And he's up in some vent.
Yeah.
And Tommy Lee Jones was like, well, how the hell did he get through customs? And then they're like, it seems somebody expedited his customs process. And then he just looks out on stage and he looks at Heather and he's like, bitch. And she's looking at him and she's like, yeah, I did it, didn't you? Don't you? So Aaron is talking and he's like, I have a confession to make to everyone. I made a deal with a man in a suit once, and there has been a cancer at the heart of Deep Dream, and it's time to come clean about it, And he's about to tell the whole story that the CIA is behind everything,
yeah,
and backing him totally. And then Tommy Lee Jones just gets onto the phone. And he's like, "Take the shot now," and Vincent Castle sets up to take the shot, and just as he's about to pull the trigger, Bourne runs into the conference room, and he grabs some spotlight, and he shines it up at the fucking vent. So then Castle's blinded with the light, and he still fires the shot, but it hits the guy in the arm. Mm-hmm. So he goes down, but he's not dead. So then there's mass panic, and everybody in the whole fucking convention just starts running, and they're all screaming, and it's all just mayhem. And Tommy Lee Jones is like, take me to my suite. And his second in command is like, no, we got to get you out of here, man. We got to get you back to, Langley or whatever. And they're like, no. I told you, take me to my suite. So they take him up there, and he's like, all right, now you guys go out and look for Bourne. I'll be fine here. And he picks up a gun, and he just sits down at a desk. Castle is now on the move, and he's running because he doesn't want to get caught or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And Bourne is tracking Tommy Lee Jones, and now they the police, they've ID'd the shooter. There's video of Vincent Castle running around, and so now they're looking for him. And Tommy Lee Jones is just sitting there alone, waiting. And then Bourne is running from the CIA, and he runs through the casino, and he just breaks the handle off of one of the slot machines, and he just runs away with it. And you're like, wow, man, what's he going to do? Because it's just a big old, like, metal pipe with a giant ball on it.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're like, oh, man, he's going to use that to just club everybody to death. I was like, man, that is a cool weapon, Jason Bourne.
Yeah.
Because at one point in one of these movies, he like kicked some guy's ass with a T-shirt. Uh-huh. Okay, it was amazing. Another one, he kicked some dude's ass with a book. I think that was the same movie. He's using all this different crap for weapons. So then he goes into the elevator, and he just jams the handle into the control box of the elevator, and that's what he used to pry it open. That was his plan the whole time. He was like, I got to get to the elevator and pry open the control console. I'm going to need a slot machine handle for that. Because I'm a super spy.
Yeah.
So he gets in there, and he's messing with all the electronics, and he just pauses all the elevators so no one can follow him. And they're like, we got to go back to the freight elevators on the other side of the building. Go, go, go. So then the second in command gets on the phone with Tommy Lee Jones, and he's like, hey, Bourne is, he got away from us, and he's on his way up to you. And Tommy Lee Jones is like, yeah, I'll get him. So then we're in Tommy Lee Jones's hotel room, and Bourne just like breaks through the door. All right? Tommy Lee Jones gives a little exposition, does a little monologuing. And he's like, your father created Treadstone, And he's like, yeah, well, why was he killed? You fucking had my father killed. That's the whole reason I volunteered for the fucking program, okay? Is because he got killed, and I thought it was fucking terrorists.
And it's pretty much the whole driving force of this movie.
Yes. And, so that's the big reveal, is that Tommy Lee Jones
is his father.
No. Jesus Christ, man. What are you trying to do here?
All right.
Tommy Lee Jones had James Bourne. If there's any way we can complicate this podcast anymore, anyone is happy, more than welcome to call in.
I'm having a good time.
I'm glad somebody is.
We're like strategically trying to remember all of this movie.
This is a fucking...
Are we still in the hotel?
This is a hell of a flick. Yeah, no, we're still in Tommy Lee Jones's suite.
All right, so he's confronting him about his father.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's monologuing. He's like, your father created Treadstone, and, he was then killed by Tommy Lee Jones, who gave the order to Vincent Castle, it turns out, all right, to blow him up in a bomb, okay? And then they framed terrorists for it. Said, oh, your father was a hero, and he was killed by terrorists, so, you should volunteer for this program. And the guy's like, yeah, and Jason Bourne's like, yep, that's me.
Okay.
I'm here. So he's like, I volunteered because of that shit. I volunteered because of a lie. And he picks Tommy Lee Jones up. He slams him on the window. And he's like, he pulls his gun on him. And he's looking at Tommy Lee Jones. And he's like, I'm trying to find another way here. Like, he like does, oh man, he wants to kill his ass so bad. And Tommy Lee Jones is like, yeah? Well, how's that working out for you, son? Just like being a shithead. And, he's kind of taunting him a little bit. It actually reminded me of when Tommy Lee Jones played Two-Face in fucking Batman. We are of two minds on the subject. So then Tommy Lee Jones is like, son, don't kill me. Come on. It's time to come in. It's time to come back to the agency and do what you are. You're a killer.
Yeah.
And Bourne's like, no, not for you. No way. All right, so here starts stuff that gets a little more fast-paced, all right? Now, for the first time on Movies with Ron, we've got a big car chase, a big action-packed fucking car chase, okay? Now, I'm telling you, I was sitting there in the theater doing my absolute best because I did not want to fuck this up, all right? Now, there's a little more story that happens before this, but let me just, preface this. I'm going to do my best to tell you a car chase on Movies with Ron, okay?
All right.
So, Jason Bourne just says to Tommy Lee Jones, no, I'm not coming in. Not for you, motherfucker. Not for you or anybody. And right then, okay, here we go. Tommy Lee Jones' assistant busts in. Bourne shoots him. Tommy Lee Jones shoots Bourne, and then he's standing over him, and he's about to kill him, shoot him in the head. And then Heather walks in and shoots Tommy Lee Jones dead.
Ah, sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it all happens that quick. Okay, so he's like, "Well, give me the gun. Give me the gun that you just killed Tommy Lee Jones with, and you were never here." And she's like, "Yeah, okay, that's cool. Thanks for saving my ass there." And he's like, "Now I gotta go and kill Vincent Castle because he's the guy that actually blew my dad up." And she's like, "No, you don't have to. You don't have to go after him. This can stop now. You know, you have a choice." And then he's like, "Fuck that," and he leaves.
So Bourne finds out Vincent Castle physically killed his dad?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's going after him. Castle's running from the cops and running from Jason Bourne and everybody. And he steals a big old SWAT van armored car thing, all right?
Mm-hmm. Tank.
And it's not a tank, it's not on treads, but it's a pretty tough vehicle, as you will find out. So Bourne follows him in a black Charger that he stole. And the SWAT is the SWAT van is like driving through the streets of Vegas, and it hits a fucking limo, okay? And the cops are following both him and Bourne now, because now there's been an accident. So all the cops are all there, and they're all going. Afterwards, they're all going to meet at the fucking donut shop. And Vincent Castle fucking runs Jason Bourne like they're driving next to each other, and he's like slamming him, and he runs Jason Bourne's car right onto the other side of the highway into oncoming traffic. Okay, so now the cops are on the right side of the road following Vincent Castle, and Jason Bourne is on the left side of the road fucking driving right into traffic. Okay, so the cops are behind Vincent Castle following him, and then badass Jason Bourne fucking finds a way to jump his car, right over the median and then back into the regular, flow of traffic.
Fuck yeah.
So he rejoins the chase, and the SWAT is ramming through all of the traffic on the road. All the traffic on the road is stopped in front of him, and he's just like riding in between two lanes of traffic. And as he is doing this, every pair of cars in front of him are just like flying up in the air, like boom, 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 boom. Okay, and it's like pretty impossible looking. Like, I don't know if even a tank could do quite that much shit.
All
right, but it's cool, it made for a good visual. So then, Jason Bourne is on his tail because he's clearing the road for him, and then they take this big, super hard right, and because of that, Jason Bourne ends up kind of in front of the SWAT van, and now the SWAT van is pushing Jason Bourne's car sideways. So he has T-boned Jason Bourne's Charger and is pushing him along the street.
All right, cool.
And Jason Bourne is like, "Oh, shit, what the hell am I going to do?" And, you see it, coming up in front of him. Yep, there's a big wall. He's going to slam him into it and kill him, right? So then he, plays around. What does he do? Well, he, puts it in reverse, but then he, I think he hits the e-brake or whatever, and he actually, gets out from in front of the SWAT van and is now driving right alongside the SWAT van in fucking reverse. And they're heading at full speed towards the concierge center of this hotel, or the valet. So then he follows he follows Castle into a parking garage, and Castle's just ramming everything. Okay, he's ramming the cops out of his way in the garage and everything. And then Jason Bourne is now he's driving the right direction, and he runs over some shit, jumps his Charger up into the air, and then lands it on top of the SWAT van. Okay, so the SWAT van's barreling down the road, and then just boom, this Charger just lands on top of it. I'm not quite sure what Jason Bourne was going to do then. Okay, but it doesn't matter, because right then Vincent Castle just drives the SWAT van right into a casino, and the marquee out above the casino is too tall to accommodate a SWAT van with a Charger on top of it. So the Charger gets caught up in the marquee and just falls off of it. And then Jason Bourne is in the car, all smashed up, and he's like, "Oh, shit." Okay? And Vincent Castle is just like, "Fuck this, I'm driving through the casino." And he just drives in, and, he crashes it in there, and he gets out of the SWAT van and just keeps running through the casino. No, no security guys or anything or cops are able to stop him.
He's still trying to get away.
Yeah. Okay. So he runs into this completely empty underground parking garage in the middle of busy-ass Las Vegas. Okay? But it's like a parking garage that's like underneath the hotel or something like that. So it's like all full of graffiti and it's not used by people. And it's a perfect place for a final fist fight battle.
Oh, shit.
Okay? There's nobody there. Trash all over the place. It's real dark. And he's running. And then Jason Bourne follows him. And then they get into their hand-to-hand combat fight.
All right.
You want to take some of that?
Oh, God. I
Go
can't.
ahead.
I can't.
One punch.
You can't?
Let's do it. One punch.
Yep, you're looking
That's
for
all
that
it
one
takes.
punch. Okay?
You're looking for that one punch, but that guy,
Yep,
Vincent Castle, he is too much.
Yeah, he's a pretty badass guy.
He's up and coming for Jason Bourne, but Jason Bourne's got to go prove it. So
Jason Bourne's getting older, you know. Kids are beating him up with dumbbells.
Yeah.
yeah,
All right, so they get into a fist fight, and they're smacking each other and punching each other, and then Vincent Castle. Remember, Jason Bourne got shot like in his side, okay, by Tommy Lee Jones. So Vincent Castle immediately jams his fucking fingers into that shit, and Bourne's like, "Ow, you bitch!" and he goes down, okay. And then Vincent Castle's like, "I got a knife, bitch," and he's like waving it around at him. Jason Bourne, what does he do? What does he pick up, Chris?
A fucking slot machine handle?
Nah, man, he picks up a pot.
a goddamn teapot,
Off of the
tea
ground.
kettle?
Yeah.
a fucking kettle. Yeah,
Okay.
It looked like a just a regular boiling water pot to me, but sure, kettle. Okay, he picks up a tea kettle, and he's like ping pong pong ping pong,
And
he's deflecting his knife. Okay,
he's
and
fucking smashing him with this.
yeah, oh
shit.
yeah, he's smashing him in the face with it and everything, and they're fighting, and he gets his knife, he knocks it out of his hand, and Vincent Castle's like looking around, and he's like, oh shit, and he picks up like a big length of like real badass strong like electrical cable, and he picks it up and he just starts like whoopsh, like whipping Jason Bourne with it, and he's smacking him with the shit, and then Jason Bourne's like, Jesus Christ, man, you fucking whips and shit. And fucking Vincent Castle is like, yeah, you motherfucker, whoop-pow. And he's smacking him and whipping him in the back, because remember, he's like, he got whipped on his back, so he's like, now it's your turn, bitch.
Okay,
So he's like whipping him, and then he just takes the cable, gets behind Bourne, wraps it around his neck, starts fucking choking him to death. He's like, you son of a bitch. And Jason Bourne is like, yep, you're choking me, you're fucking choking me, man. And Vincent Castle is like, you traitor, you son of a bitch traitor, you betrayed me, you fucking got me caught, you motherfucker. And then Jason Bourne just like, okay, so Vincent Castle's on my back. What do I got to do? All right, I got it. I'll jump up in the air and land on my back. That's what he does. And then Vincent Castle just like, oh shit, my back. So then Jason Bourne turns over, and now he's choking Vincent Castle. And Vincent Castle's like, dude, you're choking me now. And then Jason Bourne's just like, yeah, crack, I break your neck.
Sweet.
So after he breaks his neck, Jason Bourne's just like standing there, panting, like for a while, like catching his breath.
Does he like still have his shirt on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Whoa, easy there, killer. It's not that kind of action movie. So he walks away, and he's wounded, and he's just walking down the parking garage, and we see him, and we're saying goodbye to him. He's gonna go disappear off into the world. And then the screen just fades to black. Stays black for a couple of seconds. And then we come on into the, into the beginning of the epilogue of the movie. Okay? And it's Aaron, the founder of Deep Dream, and he's walking out of his hotel or whatever, and he's being hounded by the press, and they're like, hey, you were about to say some, like, serious shit, right? You were about to, like, make some connection between you and the CIA? So, like, what's up with that? And he was like, nothing. No, I'm good. Okay. Maybe I'll tell somebody someday, but I'm okay. So then we see Heather, and she's standing in a park. Okay, somewhere in D.C. She's just standing there, and then some CIA, SUVs come driving up. One of them opens its door, and she gets in. And it's Tommy Lee Jones's old boss. And he's like, yep, Tommy Lee Jones fucked all of us. Now everybody thinks that we're all pieces of shit, and, I'm just not sure what to do. And Heather is like, well, You should appoint a new CIA director. You're going to need to now. Maybe you need somebody young. Maybe you need somebody hot. And he's like, maybe I do. And it's like, bow chicka wow wow.
Yeah.
Sounds like a porno.
Then he's like, get Bourne.
Yeah. And she's like, yeah, I could totally get you Bourne. And he's like, well, what do you want? And she's like, well, that's what I want. I want to be the new CIA director and everything. And I want to bring Bourne in. I want him to work with us again. Because I'm telling you, that's his only option now. He's lost. He doesn't have a purpose or anything like that. And I can get him. And he's like, well, how the hell can you get him? And she's like, I have my ways. I know them. And, I'll be able to do this. She's all cocky and everything. And she's like, pull over here. And they pull over. And she's about to get out. And she's like, just think about it, making me the director. If you don't want to go with me, that's cool. And then she looks at him and she's like, there's plenty of other agencies out there that would like to know what I know. Mm-hmm. And then she leaves and he's like, shit, she just blackmailed me for the job. And, in the original trilogy, the bitch would have been killed for that. Okay. But, she's holding all the cards this time because everybody's a lot less tough in the CIA these days. And, so then she's walking through the park, and then she just, turns around, and there's Jason Bourne following her. And she's like, hey, I got something for you. And he's like, what's that? And she's like, it's a cast from your father's star back at CIA headquarters. And she hands it to him, and it's it's just like a medal. And it says Richard Webb on it, for exceptional service and stuff like that. And she's like, yeah, listen, man, I know you got fucked over by the CIA and by everybody. So many people just screwing you over, and you've been on the run. And, you had to take some of them down and shit. But I'm here to tell you that things have changed at the CIA, okay? Things are different now. And I know you're a patriot. And I want you to come back in. I want you to come back in and work with me, okay? And we can take care of shit. And everything will be different, all right? And we'll be able to just take care of business, Come on, what do you say? And he's just standing there looking at her. And he's like, I'll think about it. And, you as the moviegoer are like, oh, yeah, well, I guess that's a new direction to take these movies. What if he goes back to the CIA, New little angle on the franchise, right? And she's like, he starts walking away. She's like, how am I going to find you? And then he's just walking. He doesn't answer. So then she gets in her car and she finds something sitting on the seat. And she picks it up and it's a camera. It's one of the cameras that he picked up in the convention, okay?
Exocom.
And she starts playing the video, and it is a video of the CIA SUV that she was in with Tommy Lee Jones's boss. And it's being filmed from right behind the SUV. So while she was sitting there talking to that guy, Jason Bourne was driving in the car right behind them. Mm. And you can hear her whole conversation with him, where she's like, yeah, I want to bring him in. Don't worry, I know him, and I'll bring him in, and he'll work for us. And then the guy was like, well, how can you? What if it doesn't work? And she's like, well, then we'll just have to eliminate him. And so she's like, oh shit. And then Jason Bourne is fucking walking through the park, and then you hear fucking do it, Rick. Yeah, then Moby plays Extreme Ways, which is Jason Bourne's dun 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 dun. It's his little his theme, franchise theme. And then that is the end of the movie, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh man, we made it.
Yeah, how about that shit?
Thanks, God. Rick. Thanks for helping out.
Yeah, I had an hour.
Couldn't have done it without you, baby.
Say it's probably the first movie where Vincent Castle doesn't have tits in his face. Thought it was a requirement.
It's part
in
of his contract.
Well, guys, there you have it. Jason Bourne, Movies with Ron. Anything else to add, Chris?
It seems like I haven't seen the whole series, but I feel confident in saying the series hit a low point where the crux of the story happened at a nerd convention.
Yeah.
I was a little wary of that, too. I was like, wow, okay. Let's go to Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Have a bit of a story.
All right.
Yeah.
Good job, guys.
All right.
Hey, if anyone wants to shoot us an email at movieswithron@gmail.com, maybe we'll acknowledge it on the air if it's interesting enough.
Hell yeah, guys. All right, everybody. We love you, and we will talk to you next week.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
Nice meeting you.
He's got him on Vudu. Just watch him.
The entire library, baby.
The Lie Baby?
The lie, baby. God, cut that out.
I knew you'd fuck up sooner or later.